In today's music business tip, I want to talk directly to aspiring music artists, right? So, for those of you who are in the music business and you want to make this a long term sustainable career, your success and something that could be completely life changing is one song away. One post away, maybe even just one DM away. To anyone who actually wants to make it in the music business, there are a few things that you need to know. I found that artists are incredibly deep, passionate, thoughtful, and they're the dreamers, right? They are the ones that make the music business possible because from there, everything is built around the artist. The actual business structure of managers and music producers and record labels, all of that exists because of the artists. But conversely, the music business is brutal and it's very shallow and it takes advantage of artists quite a bit. So, with that all being said, what I've been thinking about is what is making it, right? How do we know when we are successful? How do we know whether we should keep trying or whether we're at a point where maybe we should give up? Obviously, success is going to be something very, very different for each person. I like to reference Taylor Swift because she is one of the biggest international successes, without question, from just having achieved huge sales, huge notoriety, huge fame. I mean, all those things taken together. But also, she ran into this problem with the fact that her label owned her masters, right? And even Kanye West, right? He's been very vocal about the fact that he didn't own his music. He couldn't buy it back. The label wouldn't sell it to him. So basically making it, but then not actually even owning your music, right? So are they successful? But then we also talk about someone who, let's say they're making $3,000 a month doing music full time. They're performing, they're touring, they're selling their merch, they have their own music business. Well, I would personally define that person as very successful because they are doing the thing that they love. Now, along the way, you're gonna have failures and you're not gonna win every day. I think that if you tell yourself that basically what you need is your consistency. You need your consistency that through the failures, through the problems that you run into, because maybe you go into the studio that day and you've been prepared and you paid for the session, and then something's not working. And then there's a technical issue. And now you're dealing with a lot of frustration and there's a failure, right, that you have to deal with. But then on top of that, a lot of us run into other people who are going to actively try to tear you down. And, it's not just from family and friends or just haters who might tell you that you're not good enough, that you're not going to make it, your music sucks. And it's hard to hear all of that stuff. And so you got to really tune it out. And it's not just the bad stuff. Okay. You got to be willing to tune out the good stuff too. Because at the end of the day, if you're listening to the bad stuff, that means that you are suggestible to the bad stuff. If you're listening to the good stuff, you're also going to be suggestible. If you're suggestible, that means that you're not going to be able to really focus on what you want to do. The way that I kind of frame this is you have to change your mindset to being a music business and a product. You are the creator, you are the visionary, but you have to figure out how people are going to hear your music. You might be the best artist, the best singer, the best producer on the planet, but if you have zero plan for actually marketing yourself or getting people to hear you, then you are literally releasing all of your work to nothing. And then on the flip side, we talk about the people who kind of make us feel like crap because of their negativity. Sometimes people make us feel terrible because of their indifference. They don't care what you're doing. They're not going to come to your show. They're not going to download your song. They're not going to stream you. So, for me, early in my career, I just decided you can't listen to the good or the bad. And by doing that, you're now in control of your perspective, right? And the perspective should be, am I doing what I need to do? And do I love what I do? So you'll get better with time. All right. So not just in kind of like your resiliency and tuning people out, but also with your actual craft. I heard someone say once that record labels typically have to release at least 30 different releases for an artist before they're able to break the artist. All right, so taking that as true, think about that for your own project or for someone that you represent. How many releases have you had? How many releases did you have before you started getting down on the project and being like, oh man, I put in all this time, 20 hours in the studio, and then we shot a music video, and then we paid $1,000 on Facebook ads, and the song didn't really pop. We're such losers. Our music sucks. Stop coming to conclusions about things that you're actually wrong about and that your brain's just trying to kind of, reinforce why you should just give up, because giving up is kind of easier. So you will get better with time. So you have to keep doing what you're doing, but you need to do it consistently. And you need to love. This is the most important message. You need to love what you're doing. That's how you know what you're doing is good. You need to get that feeling in your chest, that warm, fuzzy feeling where your skin's crawling. You know what I'm talking about. When you make something that you just know is so good. And once you have that, you have a good product. And once you have a good product, now all you need to do is just find people like you who like your music. And the good news is that there are billions of people on this planet. And from what I have personally seen is that there is an audience for literally everyone. Whether that person is you that you're trying to build and sell and become, hugely popular, or if you're representing someone, it's the same kind of analysis and thought process. So do what you like. T-Pain was talking in an interview about how Snoop had told him, don't do the auto-tune thing or the auto-tune thing. It's lame, blah, blah, blah. And then I remember also Usher. In fact, I think T-Pain did an interview talking about how Usher had kind of taken him back in the back of the plane. And he goes, you are literally effing up music for the rest of us and the rest of us real singers. So, I think he's a great example of someone who receives so much rejection from the most credible people in the industry, right? And likely his friends, likely his, co-writers and collaborators. And they were the ones telling him, this is so lame, this is so stupid. And now autotune is one of the most commonly used effects across genres. And so it's really important that, number one, you pick what the thing is, right? You do the thing. And once you know it's really good, you're going to figure out a way to make it work. Quentin Tarantino, right, also said, I don't make movies for other people. I make movies for myself. And he's like, hopefully the studio agrees with me and pays for it, and it's all great. And I was listening to an interview that he did on Howard Stern, and he shared that when he writes like a screenplay and he has a concept, he'll call up someone that he trusts. He'll be like, hey, will you check this out and let me know your thoughts? And he goes, if I'm being honest, I don't really care if they don't like it. He goes, I like it. That's why I'm sharing it, but I'm sharing it with someone else because I kind of want them to reinforce, that they like it, but I want to see it through their eyes. And so you hear from these different people's stories and creator stories that they really just believe in themselves. And they were able at some point in their careers to start tuning out what someone else thought. And I think that's one of the most powerful things that you can do for yourself. So when it comes to, for someone who is aspiring to have a sustainable, long-term, successful career in the music business, you have to define what that success is for you, right? Is it that you are doing the thing that you love? You have the money to pay for it. You have the ability to put out music. Is it that you get to connect with people who like your music? And whatever that is, at the end of the day, do the thing that you love and that makes you feel passionate, and then keep doing it and get better and better, not only at the thing you're making, right? But also how you distribute it, how you get it in front of people so that you can find your people.